Hi guys, it's Jim here again, making another vlog again today. I've got a book full of blog ideas and research, but my writing skills are subpar, to be kind. So I thought the best way of conveying information is to do these vlogs. Now today I'm going to be talking about psychiatric hospitals. I promise they're not all going to be this depressing. I have got some vlogs planned on anxiety and depression coping mechanisms, but I'll probably bring them out sometime next week because I've not quite got all the research that I need for those. The main reason behind making this vlog is basically due to my own prejudice going into the system, and I thought that I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to mental health. I've been through the system a few times, and I thought I knew everything that there was to know about mental health. I was surprised at how my prejudices and how reality kind of conflicted, and so I'm just doing this vlog from the point of view that my thoughts and feelings aren't an outlier, and that I'm kind of representative of what people expect from a psychiatric hospital. So like I say, I'm just going to go through my own experience and kind of dispel some of the fiction around mental health hospitals, and maybe shed some light on the facts as I see them. So I arrived at the Harbour Psychiatric Hospital as an informal patient, which meant that I had agreed to go into hospital of my own accord. Now it is quite common for people to be there under what's called a section of the Mental Health Act, in which they've been judged to no longer have the capacity to make decisions about their own health. So therefore those decisions are now taken on their behalf by the hospital, and they are detained there and not able to leave the hospital. When you first arrive, you are given what's called an observation level, and that is basically just a level at which you will be observed based on the risks that the hospital thinks that you face to yourself, to others, and just it's basically for your own good to set a framework around your care. And those observation levels range from level 1, which is the lowest observation level, up to level 4, which is the highest observation level. Now at level 1, which is the one that patients will most often settle to in the end, is general observation, which is a patient will be checked every half an hour just to see what they're doing, see what the mood's like, what they're engaging in. Then you move up to level 2, which is usually the level that when you're first admitted you'll be on, and that is just to judge what your risk is if the hospital has no prior knowledge of you. Then you have your raised observation levels, which are 24-hour observation levels. So at level 3 you'll be observed with an eye contact at 24 hours a day, and I mean 24 hours a day. That means showering, going to the toilet, sleeping. And then you have the highest observation level, which is level 4, and that's quite a rare one, and that will involve a member of staff being within arm's reach of you 24 hours a day. So I think one of the first misconceptions I had when I first went into the hospital is that it was going to be like one of these big Victorian asylums with people strapped to beds and being injected and people screaming all night. So I was very shocked when it to be honest, from the inside it doesn't even look like a hospital. It's more like a hotel with weird guests, I suppose you'd call it. It's genuinely easy sometimes to forget that some of these people are seriously ill. The ward's usually quiet, might be the odd kick off, but it's quiet, no one's howling at the moon, and to be honest, I think some of the nicest people I've ever met, most genuine people I've ever met, have been in hospital, and you really do develop a sense of family on the ward. You're all in the same boat, you're all not at home, not where you should be, not with family, and you're all united in, you know, in that common aspect. No matter, you know, some people have come from hundreds of miles around, but you know, you're all in the same place. There's some things that you find funny that you probably shouldn't. For instance, there were 3 Jesuses on the ward. Still can't figure out who was the real one. I was thinking about making them fight out, see who was the best Jesus. And if I had £1 for every time I was told that the food was poisoned, I'd either have severe arsenic poisoning or I'd be a rich man. I lost count of the amount of times that our rooms were searched because a spoon had gone missing, and that's something that became routine, but when you think about it, it's such a weird thing to happen for a spoon. But you know, it's another reminder that you are in a hospital and that everything has to be accounted for, that some of these people are seriously ill and do have some serious issues. You know, you'll have a lot of alarms go off, usually the female wards. All the responses usually were at the female wards. Don't know what it is with women when you put them together. But yeah, there was quite a few female responses, and that's usually for a number of reasons, either fighting or ligaturing or self-harm. You'll get a response, and that'll go out to all the wards, and you'll have people who are designated responders that will, in the case of an emergency, will, you know, respond to the other wards. Now, attitudes to medication has changed over the years. It's no longer the immediate response as it used to be back in the early days of psychiatry. Psychological input is now more of the a first line approach, with medication there to aid. Now, in a lot of cases, that some of the patients are extremely agitated and disturbed, and they, you know, there is tranquilization that does go on, and to be honest, in most cases that was the use of voluntary tranquilizers. I only ever saw, I think, 2 instances of IV injection of tranquilizers. There's no padded cells, although we do have a seclusion room, which is used when patients are, you know, unable to be maintained on the ward, and that's not used as a punishment. That's just so the other service users aren't, you know, upset by the experience. So just to give you an idea of what treatment consists of, I've got my hospital care plans here. They all come in the same format, just a page. I've not read through these, so I don't know if you need to censor it, but we'll see how we go on. The first one, this one's dated 28th of February. So it just starts off with these strengths. James is an intelligent man who has good insights into his difficulties and has a supportive family. Then your needs and problems. James has difficulty with severe depression and anxiety, dissociative states, self-harm, and suicidal thoughts, which he has acted upon as an inpatient. James has been diagnosed with emotionally unstable personality disorder. James has been nursed on level 4 within arm's reach observation due to the risk of self-harm and suicidal acts. There we are. What actions are to be taken? So James is to have a medication review. James is to have psychological input. James will approach staff if distressed. Staff will interact with James, offering support and reassurance. James is to be kept at a moderate level of tranquilization. James's observation levels will be reviewed regularly with a view for James to take more responsibility for his safety. And it tells you who's to be involved. So it's the whole disciplinary team. And then it talks about outcomes. Outcomes are that James's mood will improve. The risk of self-harm and suicidal ideation will decrease. The need for enhanced observation will decrease and James's mood will stabilise. So as you can see, it's quite an intense experience, and it's one that I don't think I'll ever forget, but it's not one I would wish to ever repeat. It is one of the hardest times I've been through, but at the same time, it's one of the things I've needed to do the most. I think, quite honestly, I think the whole experience did save my life in the end, and it got me the treatment that I needed when I needed it, and it kept me safe when I needed to be safe. So, to be honest, I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. Hope you enjoyed.